Hello and welcome to another Metagame Monday. Today I want to talk about Pokemon you should keep in mind whilst team building for VGC 2022 Series 12. Is that right? We have had it for so long I do not remember actually. But let's just talk about that, okay? So first thing first, the most annoying, the elephant in the room. How do you counteract Venusaur? Well, Venusaur usually carries Protect nowadays. Actually, let me just show it on a better team, okay? Remove Gastrodon, remove this guy, get Lunala in, and get a Venusaur in. The problem with Venusaur is not the fact it got Focus Sash. I mean, you can just go for like a Fake Out. It's not the thing that it got Chlorophyll as well. Actually, that's what enables it the next turn. But basically what happens is, they got Sleep Powder, you're ready, oh, okay, let's go for Fake Out plus Max Hailstorm, shall we? Let's go for Fake Out plus Max Flare, Fake Out plus Max Airstream, and then they go for this. Turn 1. Set up screen with this guy. Then turn 2, switch into Groudon. Set up the Sun, so even if you got Grimmsnarl, they'll likely switch out second, so they just get the Sun up. They Sleep Powder your Dynamax that just went for the Max Airstream, and suddenly you just wasted your Dynamax and they just can Sleep Powder your other ally. The Protect on Venusaur is something you have to keep in mind, you have to just respect. You just can't, if you just want to make a serious team, you just can't say, oh, they won't have Protect. You just can't do that. It's just way too risky. So how do you deal with Venusaur exactly with this support? Well, it depends on if they lead with Fake Out as well. That's going to be super annoying. But I would say the more reliable counter strats to that depends on what kind of team are you building. So for example, I would recommend, if you're running like a dual screens team, I would recommend you to reconsider running dual screens on Grimmsnarl and just give it like Fake Out plus Trick turn 1. Well, you Fake Out turn 1 to prevent the Fake Out plus Sleep Powder combination, and next turn you go for Trick with Iron Ball, which slows down the Venusaur below restricted speed. So what kind of restricted can you run next to that? For example, a Kyogre, you need a Timid Nature, but you will be able to outspeed and finish off the Venusaur, and suddenly the catastrophe is just... it's just denied, you know? If you're running a hyper-offensive team, I would highly recommend running Whimsicott with Tailwind, which is Immunite as Sleep Powder, and next turn you can just go for something like a Moonblast plus a double up from something again like Kyogre, Dialga, just pick and choose. And if you're really skeptical about Amoonguss, for example, as well, which is also kind of annoying to counteract, this guy got Safeguard, so don't use this unless absolutely necessary, but Safeguard is an option on Whimsicott. What else can I recommend? Well, switching into Kyogre is also kind of a strategy. You Fake Out the Venusaur turn 1. Oh, never mind, they Protect and prevent damage. But what you could do is go for Max Move to break that Focus Sash and then switch to Kyogre next turn with something like minimum speed Incineroar. So you just switch out second and you just finish it off the next turn with Rain Up. So they cannot even switch into Groudon. If they got Groudon already in, you can just switch in immediately the next turn and not fear any kind of like speed shenanigans. Hey, we're talking about 4 minutes about just a Venusaur. Alright, what else is the problem? Well, Kyogre is the problem, and it's not as simple as adding Rillaboom to the team, I fear. You know, they can just switch to Incineroar, you know, and just deny your Grassy Glide, and Kyogre suddenly just Hellstorm, Geyser or something, and the worst case scenario is they get Life Orb, so they just one-shot your ally. Like, regardless what you have next to that, you just gonna get denied with this. So how do you counteract this? Well, usually I would recommend, if you got like that, okay, Lunala tanks a hit, that's good, and set up Struck Room, then you can just go for like Max Clicks with Groudon. I think that's just what you could do. Another thing you could do if you're running Freeze Stabilization is to just substitute indefinitely to stall out its Max Geyser. This is a very efficient strategy and denies basically either get a substitute or they just attack the substitute and your other Dynamax is kind of safe, which I feel is kind of a nasty strategy against them. What else could I recommend? Do not switch to Groudon, that's like beginner strategy. Just make them set up have it just rain, and they just go for Max Geyser into Groudon slot the second time, KOing something that's switching in, and it's just kind of like, you lose too much. And Groudon gets hurt as well, like crazy. And you just kind of just get KO'd the next turn, and you can't even Dynamax afterwards, since, I mean, regular Water Spat would probably knock you out as well. So, yeah. Kyogre is counteracted by either substituting, Trick Rooming plus Max Quaking. Max Quaking with something like Palkia is also a good strategy, I would say. Galaga walls it pretty well, so you can just go for Max Quakes and just kind of like survive with your other ally. Regieleki with Assault Vest is gonna be a pretty meaty strategy to, like, especially if you just pair it with like Groudon, but Regieleki can be easy to survive the Max Geyser even from Life Orb. Kyogre, I believe you need to run this much investment. With Assault Vest, you just take the attack and just go for Wild Charge and deny extra turns. If you got like Shadowrax next to that with Focus Sash, you're just golden. You should just survive this catastrophe next to Kyogre. And if you just survive long enough, you can just bring in Rillaboom in the back, and now you can just counteract it. Especially if they got like Incineroar already brought down. This is just beautiful. But keep in mind, you need to run Max Attack Adamant to KO the Kyogre in one hit. Otherwise, it's just one shot. But if you got some chip away at it, you might KO through Intimidate, which is also pretty good. So, yeah. Whew. Another 3 minutes talking about Kyogre. Kyogre and Venusaur are the most redonkulous strategies. What else do you have to keep in mind? Okay. Let me talk about this combination. Assault Vest Regieleki or Life Orb Regieleki next to Shadowrax is kind of like the bane of some bulky offense teams. Like, if you don't have Grimmsnarl, this can just completely massacre you. It's because even your Shadowrax doesn't help you, since they can go for Max Earthstream of their own and just outspeed you. With their own Shadowrax, it just grabs the special attack boosts, and Regieleki still hits like a truck. You know? So how do you counteract this? Well, if you got a bulky offense team, add like something like a Incineroar, which just can weaken the wild charges of this guy. It's usually physical Aleki as well, but I've seen some Life Orb Rising Voltage Alekis as well. What else could you do? Well, set up Light Screen. It's pretty good to set up Light Screen, just so you increase, your survivability against the Shadowrax with Astral Barrage. Adding Landorus Styrian form can be very annoying for them as well. Again, set up Light Screen, go for Max Quakes. Universally, adding Landorus Styrian form just so you can counteract the Aleki is just pretty damn good, since Aleki suddenly just can't push through your entire team. If they Dynamax, you can Dynamax Landorus, go for Airstream Reverse Sweep, and it's just feels pretty damn meaty and good to just Reverse Sweep a Regieleki team. And yeah, just set up Light Screens, Intimidate, and if you really got problem against Regieleki and Shadowrax, I think something like a Landorus could just allow you to just Reverse Sweep. Alright, what else could I talk about? So, Shadowrax, Lucky, Venusaur, Kyogre. I mean, Charizard deserves honorable mention. You have to watch out for both Lambert and Chardeberry at the same time, which can feel irritating, but something... and of course, Charizard also one-shots Landorus if it's not careful. The Blast Burn, which is Sun Beast and Solar Power, just one-shots it, so that's a bit dangerous. But yeah, especially if they lead with Groudon. So what can you do? Freaking Iron Ball into the Charizard is also very good. Again, Trick Grimmsnarl again, just pushing through limits. Now they can be put to sleep. Now suddenly they can just be KO'd with a Max Rockfall, and you do outfit with basically anything that has Max Rockfall nowadays. So Lunala, open your Lunalas and just get the KOs. Whimsicott God plus Kyogre should be enough to just deal with it. Also, if you got Kyogre and you got problem against the Charizard, you can just add Life Orb and just go for Thunder. Max Lightning Thunder just one-shots just simply one-shots the Charizard, and it just goes through Gastrodon, and Gastrodon cannot suddenly yawn. That feels good, right? So, yeah. I think Charizard deserves a honorable mention. Station is actually easy to counteract. You just get like a Incineroar on the team and just Burning Shot at inappropriate moments. Also, if you got Grimmsnarl on your team, you can just switch like Grimmsnarl into Incineroar turn 1, and it's just hilarious to see the Beam Blade just do nothing, and suddenly you can Burning Shot away. Station can set up Substitute, but the Parting Shot goes through the Substitute, so it's just... it feels good. Usually your Dynamax, you should have at least one Dynamaxer that is capable of KOing Incineration in one hit. Kyogre does that, Groudon does that, Dialga does that, Palkia does that, Charizard does that, Venusaur could do that with Max Slurp from Weather Ball, so yeah, I think that feels pretty safe. Do I want to mention anything else? Oh yeah, counteract and Trick Room. Well, there are two ways to counteract Trick Room. Either just go for Death or Glory, and just try to knock it out with like Specs Shadow-X, and then like for Kyogre just going for like helping and Max Geyser and send the Porygon 2. That's one way to knock it out. I think that's the most... it's a bit unreliable though. What you could also do is just increase the overall bulk of your team. Like I have, for example, these two guys, and suddenly you just kind of like protect on Rillaboom, protect on Kyogre. It feels pretty good, and suddenly you can just go for double fake outs. You got like Intimidate, you got Parting Shot to just intimidate something, or just even Underspeed Kyogre to just make it more survivable. And Kyogre is pretty bulky, like with Intimidate. It just tanks hits inside Trick Room. Another problem you will have to probably face is just something like Amoonguss and Trick Room. So if you fear this, get a safety goggles on Incineroar, switch into Rillaboom, Dynamax Rillaboom, and he should be exerting some great offensive pressure while still being double immunized to the powder moves of the Amoonguss. So, oh yeah, and you can just set up the Electric Train with Kyogre, which can feel pretty damn good. Heck, you can even just go for Max Lightning with Groudon if you just feel unsafe against that. But if you go with Groudon, I would probably recommend just going for some Precipice Blade shenanigans to try to knock out the Trick Room setter immediately, and maybe adding like some other activator of the Misty Terrain or Electric Terrain. I mean, Charizard plus Groudon should do against most of the Trick Room setters, but for Kyogre teams, this is like a cool trick. You just increase the bulk of the team and instantly create like a reliable game plan against Trick Room. So that's probably everything I wanted to talk about in this video. Trick Room, Venusaur, just keep that guy in mind. It's a hell to team all around. And yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a hectic video. I don't show any games or anything, but I hope it helped. So with that, I'll catch you next Metagame Monday, and have a nice day.